So I'm cleaning out his closet and I find a box. It looked like a cigar box with a nice little lid. $26,863 on October 18th of 2008. And then one day I do a photo shoot and a model pulls out a roll of tape. So I grab my bag and I throw it off the balcony and I jump off the balcony. And the way he got to Belgium from Morocco was his parents smuggled him in a suitcase. They slapped me in the face, they punched me in the stomach, and they told me to shut the fuck up. I was like an army of tow truck guys with guns coming to rescue me.
So today we are joined with the king of tape himself, Drakhan Blackhart.
Yep.
Your name's recently changed to that.
Yes.
Why?
I buried my birth name, or the man that I was, Joel Alvarex, on stage at New York Fashion Week on February 12th. And then I evolved into Drakhan Blackhart.
So, Dracon, for those of the people who are watching or listening and don't know, you said you buried that person on stage. What is it that you actually do on stage?
So I'm known as the king of tape. So I use tape as a medium. I'm a body artist. I'm an artist. So I use tape on everything. But I'm known for putting tape on people, primarily females, models. I've been doing it for 15 years. And it's pretty much changed my life, my family's life, and given me an opportunity to travel and to come to places like Newcastle and make friends all over the world.
It's got to be your highlight, isn't it?
I'll be honest, it's like everyone's looking at me and it's like, what the fuck are you doing in Sunderland? I'm like, I love it up here. I love it.
You do?
Yeah,
you visit the castles?
You know, I come here. I come here all the time. You see me so many times. Why would I want to keep coming back if it wasn't for that? We were in Scotland yesterday to go see Edinburgh. I was sick. I was really dope. I study castles. I'm into history. I'm into old history.
So I want to just take it back all the way. We'll reverse it right back, mate. Obviously, you're taping people, different things, and you study castles, which is news to me, mate, and you love England.
I probably know more about the British history than you do.
100%, mate. 100% you probably do. How did it all start, mate? If you go back, where are you from? And how did you get into this?
So I'm from Miami, and I was the Cuban community or the Cuban culture is very old-fashioned. So if you like a girl, the other side of the family wants you to get married. So I got married very young. I got married at like 19, 20 years old.
Like an arranged marriage type of thing?
It wasn't arranged, but in order for me to be with the girl I wanted to be with, the parents were like, you have to marry her. And if not, you can't. You can only see her once a week and deal with the rules of that house. And it was just really hard. So we got married. I asked my mom for permission because she's going to move into my house, mom, right? And then we got her parents to sign custody. And I become the legal guardian of my wife because I was 19, she was 16. So until you're 18, but because we're only 3 years apart, it wasn't a problem. But once I turned 20, then she turned 17, and then we moved on like that. So after like 5-6 years of marriage, I taught her how to work, how to model, how to dance, how to live, how to conduct herself. I basically raised a teenager, and I had to become a man overnight.
What did you do though, Joe? So
I was
you taught her how to work and everything.
I was working at a bank. I was a dancer on the weekends in Miami. I was a go-go dancer.
And you worked at the bank?
Yeah, so I was a break dancer, and I used to pop and lock and spit fire and walk on stilts. So I was like a performer. And then in Miami, they call those either specialty acts or go-go's. Not that I'm sitting around on like a fucking tutu, but like we had to perform. The girls had easier jobs. The guys had to like actually like do flips and hang off ceilings and do crazy shit. So she wanted to get into that business. So at nighttime we would perform, and during the day we would have normal jobs. We moved out. We lived together for a couple years, and then
was this in Miami as well?
Yeah. So after like a couple years, I ended up opening a company called Glam Rock, and it was basically like glamorous girls, rocking it to rock, and it was all pink and black and fuzzy leg warmers and fishnets. It was very rock and roll.
Yeah.
So she was the lead, and I was the CEO. So I would close the deals, and then she would manage it. And then one day, one of my DJ friends told me that I should come by the club. And I came by, and I saw her with one of my friends. And then I realized that she was cheating on me. So we broke up, and then I saw her with another one of my friends. Then after like 4 of them, that's when my brain started kind of like really getting affected. So I go to like this massive shutdown, depression, not giving a fuck about life. And I got fired. And then I lived in my car for like 18 months.
Fucking hell, man.
I could have gone home, but I always felt like once you leave the pride, you can't go back. So I didn't want to go back home and make my parents like see me suffer.
Did you feel like it was a step backwards as well?
If I would have gone back home, I think I would have just used them as a crutch and never would have gotten out. I probably would have made it worse. So I just kind of like made life kick my ass for me to like keep pushing.
To be fair, mate, that's like a common theme I've heard with a lot of successful people. It's people, especially people who are at your level of success now, like they said, that they've had to experience that hardship, and even by choice, some people.
Yeah.
So that's mad.
So that's one of the hardships. Don't ever think that it's just one. And your problem is never as bad as anybody else's. Everybody's going through some shit. What I could say is, like, if you're a fighter, the one thing you know how to do more than anything else is take a beating. That's how you can survive a fight. You might not win the fight, but at least you can walk away from it. So life is one of those things where the beatings get easier, pretty much. It gets to the point where it's like after a while, like you're calmer, you don't panic. You could kind of like anticipate certain things because now you have that thick skin and you have that experience. So like, and I deal with this, like when I see my niece or I see my girlfriend or I see them kind of like going through something, I was like, my advice to them comes non-emotional. It's much more logical because it's like, okay, I've already gone through this shit.
Where did you get that from? Did you get that from your mum or your dad?
What I just said?
Yeah. That fighter's mentality. That like,
I think it's my mom, bro. That lady's a monster.
what was your dad like?
My dad was a peaceful, fucking hilarious, funny man. Just always chilling, laughing, making people laugh and joking around. I would say he was a soft-spoken man. He wasn't violent. Like, if you tried him, he probably like wouldn't want to even go toe to toe. But my mom will bite your face off.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
So what age are you at this point then? So you didn't want to go back home.
Yeah. So I'm now 25, 2008, and I'm living in a Ford Focus, and I had my grandmother and my mother didn't get along. So my mother and my grandmother had a distant relationship because of the connection with my father. But my father had passed away by this time.
Right, sorry, man.
So when I go and I hear that my grandmother had an accident and the state wanted to take custody of all her assets because there wasn't anyone in the property or next of kin or family member to represent, my mother said that I should go to the house and move in because then the state can't just like dissolve all of the properties and start, releasing it amongst themselves. So the United States, the way that they work is that even though you have Social Security, because me and my sister, or at least anyone from this generation forward, won't get Social Security because it's all going to be gone by then.
Yeah.
But the older ones were the ones which are the baby boomers and all that stuff. They were the ones that were like the last call. So we knew that my grandmother was going to be taken care of by the state, the country, and the Social Security, but they wanted to sell the assets just for the government to profit. I honestly did not want this house. There was nothing about this house I wanted, bro. You flushed the toilet, pink water came out the bathtub. 3 massive holes where you could see into the sky, like
actual fucking holes in the roof.
You could see into the sky. Like we had giant tubs just collecting the water. And it was in October, so it wasn't raining.
Was this in the same area as well?
I lived maybe about 3 blocks away.
Right, okay.
My old house.
Yeah.
When I lived with my parents. So when I get back to the house where my grandmother lived, my grandfather had already passed away in 1999. This is 2008. So my grandmother never touched anything that belonged to my grandfather. Everything in my grandfather's house in the house was untouched. And I had driven to the house, ran out of gas, and I left my Motorola Razr. Remember the Motorola Razr?
Yeah.
On the roof of the car,
phones.
so I lost the phone. But before I got to the house, I had called my friend Gus to say that I was going to this property if he could meet me there. So I get to the house, I lose the phone, I had no cash, I ran out of gas, and I remember walking to the house, and the house smelled like just old, burnt, nasty, roach infested, just nasty smelling, right? So I fall on my knees and I started crying. I just looked up through the hole and I'm looking up to the sky. I was not religious at this point anymore because I remember praying and crying and asking and begging and nothing was happening.
Yeah.
So I just gave up on that shit. And then I just look up into the sky and I'm like, what the fuck did I do to deserve this? My boy Gus knocks on the door. He sees me on the ground. He picks me up. He gives me $500 cash and he takes me to go buy a new phone. We buy the same razor. We come back to the house, and I get this urge to clean my grandfather's room so that I could start making myself settled, right?
Yeah.
So I'm cleaning out his closet, and I find a box that looked about like, I don't know, like a shoebox. It looked like a cigar box with a nice little lid.
Right, okay.
So I open the cigar box, and I see maybe about 150 envelopes, and each one of these envelopes have cash in them.
Fucking hell. A lot of money.
From the $26,863 on October 18th of 2008.
Jeez.
Yeah. That was the most money I had ever seen at that time. So I'm taking the money out of the envelopes. I'm throwing it in the air. And Gus has a stuttering problem. So Gus was like, thousands, thousands. I'm throwing the money all over the place. And I start counting the money. I counted the money 4 times just to make sure. Because I've never counted money like that.
Yeah.
We had $16,000 in 20s. And all the money was from the 70s. You would see each envelope would say January 70, February 70, March 70.
Was that his life savings?
I'm assuming it was. It was something that it was probably like maybe about 10 years of savings. And every envelope had different amounts. And all the bills were the old faces. So when I would use them at the clubs or try to buy things, they all thought it was fake because it was older than us.
Yeah.
So immediately, first deal was to put on a roof.
But did you know before you found that money, did you have any inkling that your granddad had any kind of cash left behind or anything?
No, nothing.
So
nothing.
it was a pure just. It
Just
seemed like an act of God. That
it
one
felt
at the
like
time.
it felt like round 2 or second chapter or jumpstart.
Yeah.
Like here's your chance to like do something with it. So I grabbed the money. Next day, Gus is a contractor. He's like, I'll put your roof on. So I paid to put the roof on. Gus didn't tell me I needed a permit. State comes in, says you have no permit. They make me rip the roof down.
Really?
Yeah, so now I got to do the roof again. So we took a big chunk out of the money. I gave my mom money, gave my sister money, gave my friends money. And then do you know the belts, the BB Simon belts that are like, they look like big cowboy belts full of diamonds and shiny shit?
Yeah.
Like all the rock stars and the fucking, yeah, right. So I bought like a couple of those. I went to a club called Crowbar with like $3,000 in my pocket, all cash. And I'm with like 4 of my ugly ass friends. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with these ugly fuckers at a club with all this money in my pocket? So I see a bachelorette party. I tell the bachelorette party, we'll pay for everything. You let us party with it. They said yes. I bought drinks for everyone. We had a best time. The last $1,500, I bought a Rebel XTI. So after I get the Rebel XTI, it came with like a kit lens, a little tripod, some Rogue mic, a bunch of bullshit. I get the camera. I'm like, the fuck are all these buttons? I don't know how to use any of this shit. So I go on automatic mode and I started shooting motorcycles and cars in the neighborhood. A little car magazine that does like...
You're just taking photos of cars and bikes and shit like that?
Yeah, just taking cars of the nicest cars.
Why did you buy the camera though?
It was
it's a bit of a random...
I felt like the last $1,500, I needed something to feel like I'm using this money in the right way.
Yeah, of course.
I just didn't expect the camera to like be the next massive step of my life. So whatever, I get the camera, I started shooting the cars and bikes, and then on Hooters, you know, the wing shop, had a Wednesdays motorcycles, Sundays hot rods. So I would go and just shoot the cars, show it to the owners, and sell it for like $10, $15, nothing crazy. And then it was like a little car magazine that would pay me $150 to shoot their cars on a month. So I just started kind of like making friends, and shooting cars was easy because they weren't late, no makeup, they're not looking away, you know, there's just no blinking, it's just a car. So I started hanging out with girls at the Hooters, and I became friends with one. We started dating, and I was friends with all the other girls because now I'm not a threat. I'm dating one.
Yeah.
And I have a camera, so we started doing model photography. My goal was to not be the best photographer, but to work with the best people. So
can I just ask there, Dracon, when you were doing that, was there many other people doing things with cameras?
Everyone.
So that was popular.
So it was like, yeah. So I didn't. The competition was hard because I couldn't become as financially successful as I wanted because it was a hard competition. Why would I charge him to shoot with me when you do it for free?
Yeah, of course.
Right? So I would try and get the best models that I could that were like, and Hooters in Miami, Doral was the #1 Hooters in the world. They had the hottest girls. They would always win the calendars, the best of the best. So I would work with them, and you can't take an ugly picture of a pretty girl. Fucking take it upside down and it'll still come out amazing. So I started shooting them, and then the girl that I was dating was smoking pot, and I had never really smoked pot. So she got me into smoking pot, and I started kind of like getting into the weed thing. And my creativity just started kind of like getting to another levels, like, because some people get paranoid, but other people just stop caring. So when I stopped caring and I let whatever I thought was cool to be cool, other people were responding well. And then one day I do a photo shoot, and a model pulls out a roll of tape and a photograph of a drawing, not a photo, a drawing of what looked like 2 models or 2 women painted wearing what tefillin looks like. You know, tefillin, what the Jews wrap around their arms with?
Oh, right, yeah.
So it looks like black leather that hangs. It's not like it's not tape. So it wasn't tape. It looked like it was just hanging leather. So it was just wrapped around these 2 bodies, and she was like, do this to me. I didn't have a pair of scissors.
You were high at the time.
I was high as fuck. So all I did was have my weed, my camera, and I was shooting her on some motorcycles because I had friends all on motorcycle shops.
What did you? Can I ask you? What were your parents and friends and that like when you were doing this stuff with the camera? Were they like, at least you're doing something positive, or?
So to be honest, by this time I'm living on my own, and I was already dating that other girl, the new girl, and then she was living with me. And my mom has always been the type where it's like she's more about making sure that I was fed and hydrated. She never really cared about my abilities. So I would show her some of the best work I've ever done. And she was like, yes, mijo, I know you could draw. So I never really got like cheerleaders.
Yeah.
I never had people like give me like, wow, that's amazing. You should do this or you should follow that. Like all of my shit was just me on my own. Like I never had like a team to support. It was just, you just need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
My father was a draftsman. So I used to study under him. So by the time I was in college, by the time I was in high school, I was doing college level architecture. So I understood lines, patterns, symmetry, all of the intricate engineering parts that you needed to know when you're designing a property or land or blueprints or anything like that. So when I started kind of like taping that girl, I didn't have a pair of scissors. I just literally wrapped her like 2 Christmas hams wrapped in rubber bands. Like, I would never show you the pictures. I don't remember her name. I don't have the pictures. It was just like a total fluke, an accident. I went home thinking, damn, if I did this in a different way, complementing the body, I could come up with some cool shit. I started designing on all of the girlfriends from Hooters.
Yeah.
They were girlfriends with my girlfriend. So we kind of like just started practicing. You'll notice that at the beginning of my career, I was using different types of tape. I didn't know what tape was good or what tape wasn't good. You'll notice that there was a lot of like randomness between the spacing. It was just me attempting.
Yeah, of course.
Everything was just like attempting. But
there was nothing to look at, was there really? There was no one else.
It was just a hot girl wearing tape. So nobody was hating on me because of the girl. The girl was making it more of.
So you could fuck up as much as you wanted to, really, couldn't you?
You're wearing half-naked girl wearing tape, so no one really gave a fuck. But and then I really took it serious, like the tape part. And it just kept getting better and tighter and cleaner and more consistent. And then I eventually developed processes, terms, vocabulary, different types of techniques. And then once I kind of like had that down with the black electrical tape, then I started introducing the metallics. The metallics don't have as much of a complexity as the black tape because the black tape has a pull and tension type of complexity when the metallics are just mosaic and you lay them in the right place. Mm-hmm. So when you look at the mosaics, you think they're more complex. It's just more cuts.
Yeah,
But the ones where you lay out the strips, there's the way you bend it, the intensity, the tension, you could squeeze the leg too much, so you kind of have to know what you're doing. So I started practicing both, and then I got a job at a club, tape 6 girls a night for $100 each. So I would make $600 3 times a week. Bro, from living in your car to $600 a night.
You must have felt like a millionaire, man.
I was like, what the fuck? I felt like I was actually like able to provide, right? So, and the designs had to be strong for them to dance. So it wasn't just like pretty. They had to be able to dance and use the bathroom, come back, dance some more, sweat, pop, swing, flip, and it not come off. So it made me learn how to properly make a design.
I bet you fucked up a lot.
You have no idea. And I fucked up a lot of people using the wrong tape and like leaving tape glue on their skin. Now the tape that I have is manufactured by me. The R&D's been done, non-toxic, non-residue, waterproof. You know what I
saw your stuff, mate. It's absolutely phenomenal.
We've really evolved it. I never expected to create a genre. I honestly just wanted to fucking get paid. And then now I'm the founder, pioneer, and creator of the body tape genre known as Black Tape Project.
I think you've inspired, because I've seen quite a few people try to do this similar thing.
I sell the tape, so I want everyone to do it.
Yeah, though that's it, isn't it? I was going to say, when you were doing it, did you ever think, I know you said you just wanted to make some money, but surely when you know you're getting demand, you make 600 quid.
I wasn't thinking about the money yet.
Well, you're not.
I'll tell you when the money started becoming serious.
One thing I wanted to ask you, Dracon, when you were doing this stuff, right? You know when you were taping these women, was any of these women in relationships with men?
Yeah.
And how were they about you taping up their bird?
I'll tell you a funny story. So one day I get a phone call from one of the husbands, and he says, "Is this Joel?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "You taped my wife last night." I taped a lot of wives last night. What's her name? And he gives me her name, and he says, "Oh, yes, I remember taping her." He goes, "Well, I would like to propose for you to tape her on Monday. Come to my place. I'll leave instructions and payment in the mailbox, and I'll see you then." I'm here thinking this guy's trying to set me up and chop me up or whatever. I took the chance. I show up to the house, and this is like an older lady. She's probably like in her 40s, 50s, you know, well taken care of. She was, you know, good looking woman. And the instructions were do whatever you like, just leave the crotch area open. And the whole design is structured and held by the crotch area. Because that's the piece
Yeah,
that
yeah, of
I
course.
usually apply first. And
Yeah.
not let me clear that
Is
up.
that like the keystone of the artwork, if you
Yeah,
like?
yeah. So that's where it starts. So I don't apply it. I create a patch, and the model applies it themselves.
Right, okay.
So they're not exposed to me
Yeah,
ever. Yeah. So then once that piece is in place, then I build off of that. So I had to do this without that. Imagine building a house with no concrete foundation. Like I had to like start this. I had no idea how to do this. So whatever, I did it. And the next day I get 2 separate emails, one from her and one from him. And they both said that I had just saved their relationship from divorce, that they're re-eloping, that they have reignited their romance and their passion has grown, and that the tape had saved everything. I'm looking at this like, you gotta be kidding me. I didn't come sign up for this. I'm not a marriage counselor or
Yeah,
it was
of course.
nice to hear it, but it was I didn't want that pressure.
Yeah.
You know? So
I suppose that could have led you down a whole different
yeah.
path altogether, couldn't it, really?
So and then when you see me work, you kind of tell that when I'm working with the models, I'm not checking them out. I'm studying them. Like I'm looking at where the tape's gonna go. I see lines. I'm not seeing skin. So a lot of the boyfriends or the husbands or the friends are very supportive, and I'm a cool dude. So it's like I'll have them come in, hang out, we'll talk some shit, and then I get to work, and then we talk some shit. So it's like they could tell I'm not like weird.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
And it helps them feel better because if they're feeling weird, it fucks with me.
yeah,
And I
I'm
can't
with you.
because it's an intimate process. Like I
Yeah.
feel the vibrations.
It's a bit like a tattooist, isn't it? Like some people get
Yeah.
certain bits tattooed and stuff, but it's fine. It's professional. It's
yeah,
artwork.
but it's an intimate process because you're like inches away from me, and I could feel your breath. I could feel your skin goosebumps. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel your fear. I could feel your complexities. I could feel your insecurities.
Yeah, of
And I'm
course.
just trying to make you feel cool so that we can finish, right? So that was one of those situations where I kind of like I'm easygoing with couples, especially couples.
Yeah, of course.
But I've never really had an issue with a man ever.
That's mad. That,
Never,
like.
ever, ever.
Have you ever went into other things like? I know you've actually did cars, haven't you?
Yeah, I
You
started
did-
doing supercars in Dubai.
Yeah. That's right. Was that when I seen you in Dubai? Were you doing the cars
Yeah.
then? I think
no,
it was. Wasn't it?
no, that was yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Fucking mad. That is that something that you want to venture into more?
So the supercar thing is kind of like an extremely expensive process.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to wrap the car first, and then I tape it, and then you got to PPF it. You know what a PPF is?
No.
It's like a clear wrap. that
Oh right,
locks it in
yeah.
place.
People get them just for protection, don't they?
Yeah. So we put the PPF over the tape so you can wash it, clean it, go fast, rain, and it won't fuck up the design. So imagine if you're running the SVJ that I did, it was laser blue. Just the wrap was 14.
Yeah.
Then I charge 20 on top because it takes me a week. They give me the car. I'm with the car for 7 days, every day. And then we put the PPF on top, which the PPF could be even more expensive because it needs to be precise. Because we only put the PPF over the tape, not over the wrap.
Yeah. Okay.
Get me? Because we
Fucking
want
hell.
the wrap to be
So
matte
it's intricate
and the
as fuck,
PPF
that, isn't
shining.
it? Yeah.
So it's a process. And then the funny thing is that shiny vehicles are illegal in Dubai. So this guy's already like breaking the law.
Do you
So
enjoy that more?
I prefer the cars.
Do you really?
They pay much better. The car doesn't move. They don't have to go to the bathroom. I don't have to deal with like skin issues. I don't have to deal with like humans are humans, bro. Like you got to deal with personalities. You got to deal with bad days. You got to deal with like
And they're unpredictable, aren't they? Like at the
yeah.
end of
But a
the
car
day.
is just sitting there until I'm done. And
you-
I literally fucking make love to this car for a week.
Have you ever had any?
And I treat the car like a girl, 100%. Same
Yeah.
design process,
Really?
everything. It has an ass, has a front, has a waist, and I treat it all.
Do you ever get any like weird bookings from people? You know, you said about that guy who wanted to get his wife taped up so
Yeah.
it would enhance.
I've had
whatever
hush
for him.
hush parties.
I was gonna say, was there ever anyone who's like, there could be? I mean, you don't have to mention name and stuff, but is there any kind of high profile
can't.
people who actually say, Joel, can you do this? And you say like, fuck, actually, I don't want to get involved with that. Or
I've
is there
never,
any like
I've
mad
never had
scenarios?
a job that I didn't want to do unless it was like 20 guys. I've taped up men before just to be inclusive and to show that I'm an artist, but
Yeah.
it's not like I'm inspired by the male body. When I did tape the guys were so ripped and so bodybuilding like. It wasn't like you and me. Like these guys were like superheroes. So I was impressed on the way the tape looked on them in the sense of like the dynamic and the diversity of how the tape would like flow around their body. But it's not something I wanted to do every day. So and then I taped up the Urus, I taped up 488, and both of them ran the Gumball Rally, and they ended up winning the same rap award, and I didn't know there was a rap award, the best rap.
Fucking
So my
amazing.
first attempt at taping a car, I got best rap in two different teams in Gumball. So Gumball kind of like put me on the map with the cars. Then Lamborghini Miami put me on with a Fisker, so I taped the world's fastest electric car. And then Dubai hit me up with a sheikh that wanted me to tape the SVJ. So it's one of 800. And then we taped it black and gold to commemorate Dubai.
Yeah.
And then we shot it in the desert with camels and shit. It just looks super sick. Whenever I do the work on the car, I always try to do a high value or a high production value production of the process.
Yeah, of course.
So you'll see that it's not just me and a fucking camera and a GoPro. It's like we do some dope shit.
Yeah, yeah. It is unbelievable the stuff that you see. Like, where can you see the majority of your stuff?
Most of it's on Instagram, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I started doing a lot on Telegram only because it's a little less scary that you're not going to be getting disabled, and if you do, it's not that big of a deal. YouTube has more of my work than anything else, but a lot of my work on YouTube isn't even my pages; it's other people's pages.
So when you were taping these women and you were doing these things with the Hooters girls and you grew and grew and grew, how did you scale that from just you being around, just doing what you're doing for X amount of money per week to actually fucking hell, this could take me big here.
So it's
did you bring on staff?
Yeah, no, there was two parts to that story. To that answer. So one part was I got booked in Ibiza to do black tape. And the guy that was asking me to come to Ibiza told me that he would pay me £100, €100 per girl, 6 girls a night, 3 nights a week, and that he would accommodate me and give me a transportation.
Okay.
So I thought all I had to do was buy my food and I could live in Ibiza for the summer. I take 2 of my models and we go to Ibiza. When we get to Ibiza, we do the first job. I tape up 2 of my models and 4 girls from Ireland that were living in San Antonio.
Okay.
In Ibiza, because you know the north is all
Yeah,
Ireland,
yeah,
British,
yeah.
and all that stuff. I don't know nothing. That's my first time there. I just speak Spanish, so I know my way around. So I tape up 6 girls at Eden, right? Eden is like the not ratchet, but it's just one of the worst ones. So when we finish the show, the next day, I go to get paid. And I walk into the office and I see all the other people that are getting paid, and they all look sad, miserable. Some of the girls are crying. I'm like, what the fuck did I just walk into? So whatever, I go to get paid and he goes, here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And he gives me 6 20s instead of 6 100s. And he goes, this is your money for tonight. And you have to pay me rent. And there's nothing you could do about it because you can't afford to fly home.
But you were already making money at this point, weren't you?
This is way before. I'm telling you,
Right,
this is
okay,
like right
okay.
before we
All right,
started
okay,
scaling.
yeah.
So this was the lesson that made me realize how to scale.
Okay.
Right? I didn't know I wasn't ready to come up from the $100 per person shit. So being the son of my mother, I end up grabbing the money and I go back to my little apartment and I pack up all my shit. I'm like, fuck you. Like, I'll figure out a way to get home. And this was like a big, strong black guy.
Were you on your own?
I was with the 2 other girls.
Right, okay.
So I'm on the 2nd floor of this flat that he put me on, and he stands by the door. He says, you're not leaving. There's nowhere for you to go. Don't do this. So I grab my bag and I throw it off the balcony, and I jump off the balcony and I jump into a chicken pen, and now I'm dragging all of my...
Shut up, man.
I swear to God, I drag my bag full of chicken shit down the fucking road. And when I finally get to the highway, one of the guys that saw me performing last night at Eden goes, hey, you're the black tape guy. And I said, yes. He goes, why are you here? And I tell him, this guy's doing this. He goes, no, get in my car. I get in his car and he takes me to his villa and the penthouse in Ibiza town. His wife is a fucking hairstylist. He's a concierge, private chef. He goes, we make resume. We show all the clubs I'm friends with. Within 48 hours, I was working a high privilege.
Fucking hell, mate.
But I earned it. You get me?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I took the chance. I could have stayed stuck there and just dealt with the bullshit. I was like, no. So the girls followed me. I brought them to the villa.
Did the guy not try and chase you from that when you jumped out of the balcony?
No, he knew I was out of my mind by the time I jumped off the fucking balcony.
How high were you?
It was just 2nd floor, like from here. It wasn't that bad of a deal,
Just
you know.
fucking seeing that was funny.
I was more. I was more pissed about my bag being full of chicken shit than me having to jump off. So obviously he let the girls by because the girls could say, "Oh, you touched me, you raped me, whatever." So he let them by. But with me, I would have had to fight my way through. So the girls met me up at the corner. He sees me with the girls. He recognized me because I was with two pretty girls. Then he was like, he saw the girls first, then he recognized me. He was come with me, took him to the house. And he built a little resume. I never had a resume before. I didn't have a presentation. I didn't have a deck, nothing. So he helped me develop my first deck. I lived with this man for 6
What's
months.
a deck?
A deck, like a presentation deck.
All right. Okay. Okay.
So I lived with this man for 6 months. And this man's name was Ishmael. And he came from Belgium. And the way he got to Belgium from Morocco was his parents smuggled him in a suitcase.
Fucking hell.
So his story made me feel like my story ain't shit.
Fuck all.
You feel me? So I'm like,
of
yo,
course.
like that's why I was saying nobody's story is better than anybody else. Everybody has their own perspective. You had to go through your shit. So I considered this man a G, right? But he was Muslim. And then one day he just started smacking his wife around. And I'm like, wait, I don't think we can be, because I'm with all the girls, right? So it's like, you're supporting this type of shit.
Thinking.
So little by little, I started kind of like separating myself. But he allowed me to come and bring Paradise Challenge to Ibiza years later.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So now let's fast forward a couple years. And I get invited to do black tape at a charity event in Haiti. Haiti, half of Haiti is Dominican Republic. So it's two different islands, one island, two different countries. Haiti's a beautiful country if you're not on the poor side, if you're in the touristic side. So I taped up a girl named Miss Puerto Rico, Genesis. Her name was Genesis, and she was Miss Puerto Rico. Stunning woman. I mean, at that time, probably like one of the best dark skin, beautiful faces, amazing body, all natural, like killer. And I went and I introduced the gold tape for the first time. And I've been doing gold tape for 5 years.
Was that a risk?
No. I thought it was like she deserved it, like she was worth it. Because I've been doing the gold tape for 5 years, but never posted it, never introduced it, never shared it. And I had a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'll put it to you like this. You've only seen about 5% of my work.
Yeah, really.
The world has only seen 5% of my work. I have work that I've been waiting to introduce, and I never try to blow my load so soon. So I have tape colors that you've never seen. I have designs you've never seen. I have concepts and videos you've never seen.
Is that necessarily a good strategy though? To keep
100%.
Yeah, but surely what happens if someone else brings something like that up before you, and you're like, well, I've been working on this for years.
So let's think about it like this. Let's just say you're a kingdom on that side, and you got all the weapons, and I'm a kingdom on this side, and I have all the weapons. If I showed you everything I got, you're gonna start coming up with different ways to retaliate. So I'm not gonna show you everything I got until you show me what you got.
It's like poker, innit, mate?
I'm just saving my cards. That's it. So whenever I saw it was getting boring, or I wasn't getting a lot of attention, or the algorithms went down, or I wasn't getting bookings, or it was just kind of like, well, how long are you going to keep doing this shit for? I'd introduce something new. So I introduced the gold tape in 2017. We did a small little video of me walking around her. It was a 10-second fucking video. 10 million views on Facebook the next day.
Fuck.
Facebook.
Yeah,
And
Facebook
you know, Facebook isn't that
mate.
easy.
Yeah,
That's not that YouTube shit. It's Facebook.
Yeah, mate.
New York Fashion Week, Miami Swim Week, Paris, Milan, Tokyo. I mean, the best of the best are all like, how do we get you? I didn't even know how to respond. I didn't even have price points. I didn't have a proper deck.
I bet you thought whatever my price point is, it's going up.
Oh yeah. So I went from $100 to $1,000.
Yeah.
So
Jesus
I charged
Christ, mate, 10x.
So I charged $1,000 just to like apply the tape on a person minimum now these days.
Did you feel at this time though that you'd made it? Because like when you're going from sleeping in a car, mate, to getting in a house where you can see the sky, to this scenario when you're getting booked for all these fashion weeks and all these things around the world,
I don't know.
It must feel mad.
I think even when I make it, I'll still feel like I haven't.
Do you think that's just the humble in you from where you've been?
I think it's the humble in me, but it's also the drive.
Yeah.
It's not. There's no end game.
Yeah, that's the best way to be. I
Yeah,
think.
like I've never. Every time I get what I want, it's like it's something new that I want after that. So yeah, I've earned my keep, and you would consider me successful. My family considers me successful. I remember going to a Christmas party. The whole family thinks I'm a fucking celebrity. I'm just like you guys, bro. Give me some fucking pork and some rice. It's like, fuck all this shit, you know. So, but
Just give us some pork.
yeah, because on Christmas we eat the pork and
Who's
rice.
having pork
It's like,
on Christmas?
Yeah, we get the whole pig. We make a hole in the ground. We put the whole pig in there. We roast the whole pig.
Fucking hell,
It's a
man.
Cuban thing.
Can I ask, what do you still keep in touch with any friends from back in the day? You know
Yeah.
your friend Gus and stuff. Is he still around?
No, I haven't seen Gus. I have best friends from high school, from before the marriage.
Right. Okay.
These guys are still with me. It's probably like a good 4 or 5 of them. I've known Steven for 10 years, but I've been in the business for 15. And I've been doing...
Yeah, it's been fucking ages since you've known him as well, hasn't it?
Yeah. So I've known Steven for... I met Steven 5 years into the game.
Mate, I met you about
I've known you almost 8, 9, 10 years now.
fucking hell, mate. It's mad, that, isn't it? So you're getting booked out around all these places.
Yeah.
Obviously, you said you haven't figured out a price point.
So now when I come back to Miami, Miami's treating me different.
All right.
And that's when I kind of felt like I've kind of like earned my reputation in the city that I'm from. Now you got to understand, Miami's like one of those cities where it's either drugs, power, nightclubs, real estate, or artist celebrity. Not my type of art. So all of my friends went to jail for mortgage fraud and fucking real estate fraud, and they all come back, got married, had kids, and I'm just fucking with my art little by little. Yeah, it took me a long time to get to where I'm at, but the foundation is too heavy. You can't fuck with it. You can't take it away from me. And I never slipped, and I stayed in my lane, and I have no competition.
But if it all went today, what would happen? Could you comfortably get back on the same path because you've got the connections?
If everything went today, like what do you mean went?
So if you just lost your status in this game
As a
now-
black tape artist?
yeah.
Oh man, after
Would you get back into the tape game?
Nah, I'll probably do a bunch of other shit.
Would you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now I have the confidence. Now I know we can do it. Come on, bro. If you could fucking make it off of electrical tape, there's so many other things that you can make it from.
Yeah, I know, but what
During COVID, I got really good at cooking steaks. There was only 2 things open during COVID: the butcher and the gun store. So I bought a bunch of guns and a bunch of steaks, and I became a connoisseur in Wagyu. So I probably have like 50 grand.
Yeah, but
in
you're
steaks.
saying you made it off electrical tape. What else could you do? But not many people could make it off electrical tape.
Well,
That's what I'm
it
getting
depends.
at.
It depends. So let's just say that you made scrambled eggs every day, 3 times a day for the next 15 years. By the time 15 years come around, you know everything you need to know about making scrambled eggs in a million fucking different ways.
I didn't agree.
You're gonna probably make eggs better than anyone else, and if you're creative enough, you'll coin a new process.
But how many people in every house around the world is making scrambled eggs?
But not the way you make it.
True.
How many people fuck with electrical tape before I've even fucked with electrical
A
tape?
lot of electricians.
The electricians that go to school for it. And you understand what electrical tape is meant for, right? It's electrical tape is supposed to melt with heat. So it becomes one giant rubbery piece so that the electricity can't be exposed. So it's thermoreactive. So I had to learn the tape, right? I could give a fuck about tape. I want to be an artist, right? But I had to understand the adhesive of the tape, the volatility of the tape, the thermal volatility, the structure, the flexibility. There's different levels of tape, the thickness of the tape, the aggressiveness of the adhesive. Now I'm
And isn't it mad how many people will look at you and just he just tapes girls?
Yeah, but I'm a tape expert. Fuck taping women or taping anything. I understand adhesives. So I started developing my own. And now I have the world's only medical grade, body safe, non-toxic, non-residue skin tape that's waterproof.
So how does your business work now?
Most of the income comes from tape sales, from me selling the tape.
Selling the tape. So you basically use these events and stuff that you do as like almost
promo.
marketing, in it.
Yeah.
It's just a shitload of promo.
I get paid for it, but when I post on Instagram, we get paid.
And do you ever see anyone who buys your product doing really well with it? Or do they just do it as like a hobby or do they go on to business? And
I'm ruthless. So I'll be honest. If I see you doing good and you stay in your lane, I'll invite you. But if I see you doing good and now you're jumping in my lane, I'll do everything in my power to destroy you.
What's the difference?
So if you come and take a class and you come to learn from me, to learn how to tape, and all of a sudden you contact New York Fashion Week to do a black tape project fashion show, that's like you going to the Versace store, buying all the Versace and doing your own Versace show and claiming it as if it was yours. You get me? Like, you didn't invent that. That's not your designs. You know, like, now you could go and make money off the tape. You could teach. You could educate. You could do classes. You could do shows. You could do tape your models. You could do photo shoots. You could do it for fun. You could do festivals. Go make your money. But now if you're trying to take my spot, like my position, let's go.
So get this.
That's the b-boy in me, though. I've been a breakdancer, so we're very competitive.
So here's one for you, Joe. What would you do in this respect, Dracon? So my business, the Content PT, I create content for influencers, PTs, coaches around the world. Love what I do, but I'm a one-man band, effectively. I've got video guy Kurt now who's came on board, who's doing all the back-end stuff as well. Unbelievable. But I had a guy approach me in the gym a couple of months ago, and I get this, and he said, "Ads, you guys, Content PT, right?" I said, yeah. He said, "I love what you do. It's mint. I saw your work." He went, "I've bought myself a camera because I'm really inspired by what you do." He said, so what I've done, and so I was like, yeah, great. He said, so what I've done, I've messaged everyone on your page and I've offered them free work. So part of us was like, well, I can't knock his hustle because we've all been there at the start. But he's ultimately coming directly, not only into my lane, but actually into my client base.
Destroy.
So what do you do with
Destroy.
that? And how do you do that?
Destroy. You make an example out of him. Because two things will happen from there. One, you make him stronger. Two, you teach him ethics. Because he didn't do shit to get what you did. He just saw you do it, and all of a sudden he thinks he could do it too. I didn't see anybody do what I did. I had to come up with it.
Yeah.
Every single one of my designs isn't something that I saw before. It's something I created from my ass.
See, the only...
He's just copying something he already saw. So go and do that on your own space. Don't fucking eat at my table.
Because what I'm trying to...
If he was that good and he did his own shit and he started doing his own shit, you would have probably invited him to your table.
Yeah,
because now
that's the difference.
He's bringing stuff.
Or I would have noticed already.
Yeah, and you would have been like, yo, you're dope. Let's expand. Let's grow. You go this way, I go that way. But if you're really headhunting, bro, let me show you what I'm capable of. 100%. Like, one of the things that I realized was...
Because I'm trying to look at it like...
Fuck all that shit.
He is letting other people see what I do because I'm better than him.
I've been prepared to battle and go to war at any time, any place, with anyone, because no one helped me, bro.
Yeah.
Not one fucking person believed in me. Everyone was like, how long do you think this is going to last? I look at them. I never thought I was going to get started. What do you mean? Like, I'm just pushing it. I'm milking it. Once it became a business, like an empire where I have employees and I have staff and I have 7 different revenue streams off of one fucking roll of electrical tape, I could do more damage with a roll of electrical tape than any millionaire with Rolls Royces and Rolexes and shit. Like, me and rolling tape could pull any girl at the club versus him and all his money and his balls.
Yeah.
You feel me? So it's like, why am I... So yeah, I treat it... I'm very careful. I treat it like a kingdom, and I'm the king. I protect my fucking grounds 100%.
Did you ever get... I know you had, obviously, financial hardship and stuff when you were younger. Did you ever experience any other kinds of adversity or hardships? Did you get any racism? Was there anything like that growing up?
I'll be honest, man, no. My parents are Cuban, so Cuba's half slaves, half whites.
Yeah.
So when you go to Cuba, there is no racism. It's just everybody's mixed.
But when you've been on your journey building a business and stuff,
so
have you faced anything?
we might have experienced racism yesterday. Might have.
Here in England?
Yeah, in Scotland. We went to Scotland yesterday.
Right, okay.
And we went to the witchery.
Yeah,
and they told us not to sit at the witchery because they were full and the place was empty, and they made us sit at the secret garden. But I kind of like what the secret garden looked like, so I didn't care. But Steven was like, no, you can't see. You can't tell. They're pushing us here because of the way you look and the way I look. I'm like, I don't think so. But and then I kind of like sat back and I was like, he might be right because Steven has experienced that. He knows the taste. I've never physically experienced racism. I've never seen racism. The first time we saw racism, like flat out, was George Floyd.
Yeah.
On TV, we're like, wow, this is like Martin Luther King drama. You know what I mean? Like, we never seen that. In my neighborhood, we all say nigga.
Yeah, that's
boys,
fair
black boys, all the white boys, everybody says nigga. We don't say it with a hard R, but we say
what
nigga.
What
like,
is it? Your
like
neighborhood
homies,
predominantly? Like what?
Oh, we're all black and white. Well, there's mostly Latinos.
Yeah.
Yes, mostly Latinos. And then I would say the whites have started to become a minority in our area. Mm-hmm. But not that we don't say these words in a bad way. I've never called anyone the N-word, but we say nigga like a homie. Like, that's my nigga. Like,
yeah, of course.
Bro, that nigga's over here. He's coming later. Like, it's not like that. Like, and then when I hang out with my black friends, they could tell that that's how we say it. I taped up Sierra for her last video. And then Summer Walker.
Right, okay, yeah.
And then Summer Walker apparently didn't like me saying it like that. So when we were in the room, she was like, I'm not your nigga. And I was like, I never said you were. She goes, yeah, but you keep saying my nigga. Stop calling me nigga. I was like, I wasn't calling you nigga. It's just
the way you talk. Yeah.
And it's like, where I'm from is like that. And she goes, well, you're not black enough to say that, because if I was in the car and they stopped me, they would have pulled me out and put me in jail. I said, did you just say that I'm not black enough? And I go, do you know who Obatala is? She goes, no. What about Yemaya? She goes, no. And I go, Ochum, Ochosi, Elegua. Have you heard of any Orisha? Do you even know about the Oruba religion? She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, it's the most African fucking religion on the planet. And that's the religion I follow. Why? Because my family comes from slaves.
Yeah.
You get me? Because we're from an island.
But what, did you actually say this?
I'm saying it to her fucking face.
What did you say?
Everyone's like, this. And then at the end, she goes, besides you being unprofessional, you did a great job. I end up doing the show, the video. And then 2 of her little older consultants come up to harass me about the conversation after it was done. Then Sierra calls me, screen time, FaceTime, and
Yeah.
she's apologizing to me about the situation because she knew those orishas. She goes, I can tell that you're
Yeah,
educated.
right.
And it's not like I read a book and I wanted to sit here and call you out. It's because this was something that we practiced our whole life. You get me? Like, we're Catholic, but we're also the orishas, Oruba.
That's the problem, mate. It's people who are uneducated.
So some people just want to
Or-
be able
or
to
ignorant.
some people want to throw that on you just because they felt like that's their way of being able to kind of like find their position above you. But I am so on your team when it comes to that.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
so on
no
the
need to
same
fight
space.
type
Like,
of
why are
thing.
you messing with the wrong dude? Like, if
Yeah.
anything, I'd be standing next to you to help you if it was anything like that.
How did that come about? The Sierra shit?
Um,
Again, is that just you got a call? Did you try and get in there yourself?
Yeah,
or did
just
that come
call
to
me.
you?
Out of nowhere, somebody said, hey, would you be interested? Sierra's account on Instagram contacted me, and it was Sierra's manager speaking on her behalf. And Sierra told me that when she met me, she goes, I knew about you, and I wanted you, and I needed you to come, and I'm so happy that you came.
That's amazing.
And then
mate.
when I worked with Summers was like, you're allowed to tape me, but you can't touch me. I was like, what do you mean I can't touch you? Like, I won't touch you. She goes, no, but you cannot apply the tape on me. You have to put the tape where you want it to go, and my assistant needs to do it.
Well, like you can't do your
I
job,
said,
can
you
you?
could fuck off. I don't have time for this shit. So it's okay, cool. Then we'll let you do it, but you have to be very clear that you're just applying the tape because she's going through some religious cleansing and stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. So then now this lady's got all these conditions and
I
all
bet
of
you
these.
that pisses you off about
Yeah,
what you do.
because she's being a diva right now. She's like, oh, my
Yeah,
toilet
of
paper
course.
needs to have polka dots. Get the fuck out of here. You're going to wipe your ass on it anyways. Like, you feel me? So,
Yeah, I get
so
that.
that's so she was just flexing, you get me? And then Sierra was just so kind and professional and down to earth. And I never heard of Summer Walker in my life. I could give a fuck, to be honest with you. I was just happy to do my job. And she was just arrogant and stuck up and boring and upset. And she just looked like she didn't want to be there. And then Sierra was just so kind and excited. You could see the difference.
Yeah.
She made me feel like I was
I think
welcome.
one's genuine, basically, innit? That's what it is.
So whatever, I do the video. They yell at me a little bit after when I'm trying to leave. I'm waiting for my Uber, and two other chicks are like trying to yell at me. Oh, I can't believe you said this and this. I'm like, listen. And she goes, I'm Afro-Latina. The lady goes, I'm Afro-Latina. And I go, entonces, ¿qué pinga me estás resignando la vida aquí cogiéndome todas estas cosas? She goes, I'm like, so you don't speak Spanish either. So you're claiming that you're Latina, but you don't even speak Spanish. It's like, I'm flexing on both your fucking cultures right now.
For the viewers, that is, I want fish chips and mushy peas.
You get me?
No
So
pint.
it wasn't that I was trying to be insulting. I was just like, I basically said, why are you coming over here to fuck with me if you know who I am? If I'm Latino too, we come from the same culture. Just because my hair isn't as nappy as yours doesn't mean that I'm not black enough. What the fuck does that mean? That's probably more racist than anything else I've ever said. Right? It's like, what do you mean I'm not black enough? I know how to, I don't even dance salsa. We dance wawanko. We don't say bus or autobus. We say wawa. Like, our terms are all African. Like, everything about Cuba, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, that's all African descent that was brought by the Spaniards. Like, let's if you're gonna come at us with that bullshit, at least educate yourself before you get rocked, you know?
I think that plays into your favour though, mate. You can see that, like, that is just you in it.
Yeah.
To the point where you were like, well, if that's the case, well, fuck off. Like, if I've
like,
got to get someone else to put the tape on
I'm
you.
gonna get paid either way.
Yeah, exactly.
But whatever. She what made me feel good was that Sierra authentically called me, apologized, and I told her I was gonna send her a nice piece, and we closed it there. It wasn't
How much does that do for your profile when you work with an artist or someone?
not
like that?
much, unless the artist physically mentions my name, which you don't really get credit like that because it's about her in the music
of
video.
course.
And
But
even
someone's clearly got to be saying who's done this.
But yeah, TMZ or some shit will be like, oh, check her out wearing tape, and then they'll tag me, and then I'll get posted. Or like, I used to work for Maybach. I've done maybe about 10 Rick Ross videos.
Yeah, I know.
So when you look at Rick Ross videos, you see the tape, but nobody puts two and two together because it was fucking 10 years ago.
What's the biggest job you think you've ever did in terms of profile? Would you say Rick Ross?
No, Pain and Gain with Michael Bay.
Okay, no. What did you do for that?
I got into an argument with him. Because he says, I want the tape to look like it's in the 80s. I'm like, well, bitch, we invented it in the 2000 something. Like, what are you talking about, the 80s? And Michael Bay's a difficult motherfucker. So I taped up two girls. One girl looked like the 80s. One girl looks like the 90s. The other girl looked like 2000s. So I need to look like it's the 80s. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? It's like, how am I supposed to? I wasn't even born in the 80s. Like, what do you know? So here's where I feel like the only job that I think I slipped on, Red Notice. So they offered me 20 grand to tape up 4 dudes to look like they were the ones that were carrying this egg that was going to come out at the end of the movie. It was like a 2-second scene, 20 grand. I agreed. Then they said, great, we'll pay you 20 grand for you to film for 2 days, but we need you to quarantine for 8 days. and this is way after COVID. And I'm here thinking, I'm like, I'm asking for 20 grand for 2 days. So how much should I ask for the additional 8? When I asked for the more money, they were looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, think about it.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
of course.
basically putting me in jail for 8 days. Oh, we'll get you a PlayStation. We'll get you whatever Uber you want, but you can't leave the hotel room. Hotel room, no balcony, no nothing. It's just you in a room. Like, I can't be in that type of confinement for no fucking reason. Fuck 20 grand. So I tried to renegotiate, and then the director really wanted me, but the lady who was making the financial decisions thought I was an arrogant prick. So she canceled that shit, and then he called me up saying that we're not going to be able to put you on. And I didn't. That's the one job that I felt like I could have flexed on, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's okay. I didn't. And then they ended up just painting the guys gold for the movie.
Really?
Yeah, they just painted
Yeah.
him gold.
Is there any other jobs that people don't know about that you could have been involved in and you weren't?
Um, damn.
It must happen all the time for you though. Being in this
I
industry.
close. I close a lot of. I close a lot of deals. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
any deal that I don't close is only because they can't meet my rate.
Yeah, of course.
I'll be honest. Like, I am expensive. I'm a bit obnoxiously expensive.
How do you deal with that? Do you ever think, fuck, if I just load me price, or have you got
It's
standards?
super easy. I am not in love with the tape. I have no fetish with the tape. I can live the rest of my life and never do tape again. I'm kind of over it, to be honest with you. So
Right,
the money
okay.
needs to be worth more than it now.
What's your bigger plan?
Now,
Yeah.
because of my accident that I had recently, and I reinvented myself, I feel like I have a commitment to tell the story.
So I want to talk about two things, right? The first thing, before we go into that accident and everything, when you sort of reinvented yourself, Paradise Challenge.
Yeah.
What is that? Because I've seen that everywhere.
That's 100% byproduct of the black tape.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So for people who are watching or listening, Dracon, what is that all about?
So Paradise Challenge started off as Black Tape Project in Paradise. I got invited to do black tape at a hotel, and they asked me to bring like 15 girls. So they gave us like 16, I think it was like 10, 15 rooms, and they comped us all, showed us to perform, and we had a free week at this hotel. We had so much fun and we made so much noise, and social media was kind of like popping off at the time that everyone wanted to come on the next one. So the hotel was like, well, we can't give it for you for free, so we'll give you a decent rate, and then you could get your friends to come. So I put the rate out and people started booking. So we doubled. Then I was like, let me put a little bit on top and I can make some money. Then we tripled. Then we just kept doubling our numbers every year for the past 10 years. And I got to the point where now we're like at 400 or 500 influencers. We're basically the closest thing to a successful version of Firefest for content creators. Unlimited food, unlimited drinks, parties every day, parties every night.
So basically, my
excursions.
understanding is, because I've not been to one of these, I know a few people who have.
So I'll explain how we got to like the different destinations, because
Yeah, yeah.
this was all in Jamaica.
Yeah, of course.
So once I was doing these Jamaica trips, a competitor popped up saying if I would not do my events and do their events. And I said I didn't want to work under anyone. It's not about that I don't want to help you. I just don't want you to be my boss. And they were like, oh, but if you just, humble yourself and work with us, we could expand. And I was like, no, I think you just want me to make you famous and rich and I'd be your employee. So I'd rather just do this on my own. So he decided to do the same dates as I did in a different destination, forcing our clients to choose. So it was just one destination a year. So and then I turned the Black Tape Project in Paradise into the Paradise Challenge, where we had challenges at the end of the trip, obstacle courses, scavenger hunts, costume contests, hot body contests, different things like that. And they would win these giant diamonds. Each diamond represented a new destination. And every destination would be played out every 2 months.
Yeah.
So I would dominate the feeds because now we're playing every 2 months. 2-month promotion, 1 week activity, 2 months down producing the content, plus a promotion for the next trip. I annihilated him. He had no chance.
Yeah,
He couldn't
he's
keep
not gonna
up.
stand a chance with
So
it.
we just started doing all the trips. All his clients came to me, and then it gave me a 6-trip-a-year advantage where now I'm getting 6 times the experience.
And content. You stay
Yeah,
rolling,
but the
aren't you?
experience, fuck the content. When you get strong-armed by the Balinese government, try to get extorted, when you're getting kidnapped in South Africa. I mean, I've been kidnapped in South Africa. I had all my ribs broken. I had the Balinese government try to extort us for $100,000 per client.
Fuck.
These are another stories. We're gonna need another podcast for that bullshit.
Shit in hell, mate.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like I understood travel now. I understand the politics, the culture shocks, the relationships that you need to have, ministries of health, ministries of travel, tourism boards, Muslim countries. I am the leading figure when it comes to destination content events for influencers and content creators
Because
around the
I've
world.
always thought that about you, when I see you in different countries, I mean, you've literally traveled to most places to do these mad events. And I'm like, how the fuck does he get on with the government and all these
I reach
places?
out to them.
It's mad. It's mad.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot that would put a lot of people off
Yeah.
doing business in general.
Yeah, yeah.
Do
So
you know what I mean? Like,
at first it was just me and the hotel, but the hotel would have relationships with the ministries of health because of COVID, and then they would put me on, and then I would work my way up the ranks. But and then when you're in other countries like Dubai, if you're friends with an emirate, that emirate knows another emirate that's a sheikh, and then that sheikh will kind of open doors for you. What we do in Dubai, you cannot buy.
yeah, of course.
You've seen our
Yeah,
events.
mate.
Like the auto drone opens up with Ducatis giving rides to the girls.
Yeah.
Like the world's largest yacht in the UAE hosting us for free. Shooting at a pool at nighttime in front of the Burj Khalifa, unheard of.
Yeah.
It's not allowed. Burj Al Arab opening their doors. A fleet of an armada of trucks doing dunes with camels and hawks in the desert. Like, you can do that for you and your girl, but you can't go and bring the squad we bring and have that type of make that much noise and not get in trouble. So
Yeah.
at first we used to get in trouble because I wasn't playing along with the government. And then I started making friends with the government. Now they give me the red carpet. As long as they benefit. So now, yeah, there are some, like when I go to Tulum, I'm cool with the cartel. I make sure that they're paid. I make sure they protect us, that none of my girls are going to go missing. That
Yeah, because I was going to ask that. No matter what country you go to, there's always some kind of
yeah.
underworld, mafia, almost things going on.
So-
How do you not piss them off?
by kindly inviting them to participate.
Okay,
Yeah.
sound.
So I'm cool with the bad guys
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
way
yeah.
where they behave good because they know that I am not a threat to their business because we're not in their hustle.
You're not in their lane. It's back
Yeah.
to your own.
Yeah, I'm in my
your
own lane.
trees.
But
Yeah,
if I invite them, they feel like, okay, we're building a relationship, and then they see that I come at them with a non-hostile intention. I'm not selling any drugs. I'm not like competing with their fucking rivalries or anything like that. So I'm safe in Jalisco. I'm safe in Tulum. I'm safe in Puerto Vallarta. And Puerto Vallarta was the last one where they assassinated the mayor. So the hotel in Puerto Vallarta confiscated my passport, which is American property. They're not no man can touch your passport and not give it back to you in any country. So I called the Jalisco cartel. They showed up in a couple trucks with machine guns. In 30 seconds, I had my passport in my hand.
Fucking hell, mate. That's mad.
Now I'm not gangster like that. I just know gangsters. You get me?
Mate, I need to hear about the kidnapping. Like,
So in South Africa, I ended up doing black tape. I ended up going to South Africa with a girl that I was dating named Chloe Ture. And Chloe Ture was Playmate of the Year in like 7 different countries. So she ended up being the world's leading Playmate of the Year. No one has more Playmate of the Years than this girl. And she wasn't even 20 yet. So she was like
Wow, man.
the leading Playmate of all time.
and you were dating her.
I was dating her.
Yeah.
So we ended up going to South Africa, and a girl named Roxy Robinson hosted us and said that I would love for you to come and do your trips here. I'll get you mansions, I'll get you cars, we'll get you all the reserves and all that stuff. I said, listen, we don't care about mansions, we don't care about cars. We come to Africa to shoot with the fucking lions, the cheetahs. We want the African experience. So we started doing business with her, and then she would send us letterheads with the bills for the transportation. Driver this much, the truck is this much, and then makeup is this much. I'm like, why are you charging me makeup from the driver? And then she was like, oh, I got you 7 Lamborghinis. I was like, for what? To pick up the girls from the airport. I'm like, they're showing up with 3 bags each. Like,
Fucking hell,
fuck a
man.
Lamborghini. We need a truck.
And getting billed for it as
So
well.
I said, look, forget that. I'm handling it from this point forward. You get me the contact, the letterhead, and the invoice. I'll pay for it, and we're good to go. She was very offended by that, and she didn't tell me. She also didn't tell me that she's one of the leading figures of the Mafia.
Fuck.
So I come to South Africa, and I do the whole event. We didn't have a hotel, so we made friends with somebody that had like a 9-bedroom house and let us stay at their house, and I paid for everything, and we did the whole event. At the last day, Paradise Challenge clients leave. Me, my partner Lewis, and Ron Hansen, which was our chef at the time, stayed behind to do one black tape show one night, and then we all leave the next day. We were going to tape 2 African locals, South African locals, and it was at a nightclub in Sancton, which is like the most Mafia concentrated area. I don't know any of this yet. I'm just in fucking Africa chilling, having a great time. I do the show. I start drinking. My boy goes downstairs to get paid. He comes back up looking like a ghost, putting on his jacket. It's like, we got to go. We have to go right now. And I'm drinking. This is the last day I drank. I don't drink that much anymore. Like if you ask me to have a beer with you, I will, but you won't see me get wrecked.
Yeah.
He tells me, yo, they just swiped all of our credit cards for $3,000. We got to leave. I'm upset. like Drake. I'm
Fucking hell.
upset. So I'm walking out. I'm kicking out vases, pushing down trees. I'm just a dick. They stick me in the car. We start driving down the fucking the parking lot, and I see her car. I was drunk. I jump out the car and I kick both her rearview mirrors off, clear off, and then I tell the guys meet me downstairs. So I run downstairs. They're driving downstairs. I run out of the building and I run right into security. Security's like, we saw what you did. So they don't call the police. They take me to the office and they call her. She shows up with like 4 of the biggest, baddest motherfuckers I've ever seen in my life. And the owner of the club that just finished hiring me, that was treating me nice and giving me bottles and all that stuff. They asked me a question. I spoke. They slapped me in the face. They punched me in the stomach and they told me to shut the fuck up. Then they take me downstairs to the club. They put me in the office. They put one of the biggest dudes at the door with a massive 45. And they told me to stay under the table and they let me keep my phone. So I'm communicating with my friends and I'm saying what's going on. And they said to me, just call the police. And the guys were like, you want to call the police? We'll call the police. So the police come with the guns, like military police, and they go,
They're obviously on their side.
yeah, bro. They're like, you have to pay. And I was like, you want to go to jail? Okay. What's your name? Joel Alvarex. What's your name? Joel Alvarex. What's your name?
Fucking
Like
hell,
saying,
man.
fuck your name, bro.
Yeah.
You're gonna get lost in that bitch. So I'm texting my bro, nope, jail's not an option. We cannot go. They're gonna put me in fucking Zimbabwe. You're never gonna see me again, bro. Like for real.
Did you actually think this was happening?
Yeah, by this point my ribs are hurting because they keep punching me because they keep making me swipe credit cards. So now they swiped us for like 10 grand. They keep taking me out to the ATM to swipe more, call the bank, release more of the limits, call the bank.
Real fucked
Whatever.
over big style there.
The style that we were the house that we were staying at, the wife was the wife of a man that owned a tow truck. All the tow truck owners run with guns. They have guns. So he called a bunch of the tow truck owners to come. I was like an army of tow truck guys with guns coming to rescue me. And I'm in the back of the club trying to get out. One of the guys that knows both parties is mediating. So they finally give us like a meet. It's me standing with like maybe about 10 of their guys. And then my partner, the girl, the wife, and the guys are speaking for both parties. They finally allow me to cross over to my side. I'm on my side with my team. I'm here. My partner's here. She's here, and the mediator is speaking for both of us. And then one of the guys goes to me, you fucking puss. And I'm still a hard ass. Like, you know me. I'm not going to shut the fuck up. So I'm like, whatever, bro. Look, if you're going to insult me, I need you to do it completely. The word is pussy. Fuck all this half-ass bullshit. So he's like, oh, he throws a glass of water, a glass at me, and it hits my chest and shatters on the ground. Lewis is standing where you are, and he's got his left hand on the phone talking to the cops. Talking to the bank, trying to get our money back. And another guy throws a glass, cleared his face. Destroys him. Blood everywhere. The whole room scatters out. I don't know what the fuck just happened. Now I'm following the trail of blood, trying to follow Lewis. Lewis gets in the elevator. I don't know what floor he gets off on. So I go on the staircase. I go down the stairs, and I run into the same security guard that had caught me in the first place.
Fucking hell, mate.
I grab him by the neck and I go, if you don't let me go, they're going to kill me. He saw the fear in my eyes and let me go. I probably ran for like 20 minutes straight. I got into a hotel, and I went into like the stairwell. And I went to like the middle, as high as I could go in the middle of the stairwell. So if I hear the doors open at the bottom, I go up higher. If I hear the doors at the top, so I just kind of like lingered there for like an hour. My phone had a little bit of power left. They finally called me and say, hey, Lewis is in the hospital. Tell us where you're at. Show us your location. We'll come pick you up. They come pick me up. They take us to the hospital. Lewis's face is being sewn back together. I'm crying because I'm like, this all happened because of me, you know. And that's when I started to realize that the consequences of your actions are important, and they can hurt other people around you. And this was one of my closest motherfuckers, and he bled for me. You get me? It wasn't just like some little shit. He lost 75% of his motion in his eye, and he just got married 2 days ago. So whatever. Long story short, we go back home in pieces. We get to the airport. He looks like a mummy. They're like, he can't fly. I was like, no, it's not impact. It's all lacerations. Because when it's impact because of the pressure and all that bullshit. They finally let us home. And 2 years later, I decided to go back to South Africa. And when I get to the airport, they're like texting me, we know who you are. We know this, this, and this. I ended up making a phone call to one of my friends. Within 30 seconds, those people had laid off because now I made friends with a higher level of Mafia.
Yeah, so
that's when I realized that you got to be friends with the bad guys. You got to be friends with them. Not that I'm dealing with them or doing business with them, but at least be cool with them in the sense, show them their respect, show them their place.
Are you like that even when you come to the UK?
Who do I fuck with when I'm up here?
I know you fuck with.
Is there anyone
yeah.
fucking with the people we fuck with?
Nah, mate, definitely not.
We're
That's what I'm
we're at
saying.
the top of the food chain here.
Yeah, it's mad.
Tell me
that.
somebody is better than who I roll with.
Mad, mate.
And he's retired.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel me? So it's like, not that I'm a gangster, but you're in safe hands when you're with the right gangsters that have heart.
Yeah,
know?
that's the main thing.
This guy has a heart.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
that's
know,
the main
he's
thing.
never once shown me that side of the world. He's never shown me that side of his world. He's always protected me. He's always had my back. But I know what he's capable of, you know?
One thing I want to ask you as well, social media and growing a following, growing a brand, growing a business. Obviously, you've got your niche and you've did well at it, and you're at this level now, and I know it's just going to get bigger and better for you. How do you grow social? How do you grow a brand? How do you grow a following? How do you become a figure online for people who are watching and have got their own hustle going on?
So from what I've noticed and what I've learned is doesn't matter what you post on your page. It's about who posts about you.
Yeah.
So because I do one girl today, I'll tag her, she'll tag me, couple growth. But when I do New York Fashion Week and it's 20, 30, 50 of the baddest ones you've ever seen in your life and they're all tagging me, my numbers go up like crazy. Now, when you're bad already and you work with me, I'll make your numbers go as high as if 20 girls were popping you off.
Yeah, of course.
Get me? Because I know you saw that girl, Selena Smith. When I post her, she got up to like 20 grand overnight. 20 grand.
That's mad, isn't it?
Get me? But now when she posts me, I don't get that love. I need 20 Selenas.
So for people who want to get in the tape industry or to work with you, what can they do?
What do you mean, get in the tape industry?
So, for instance,
like if they want to get taped or become a tape artist?
No, they want to become a tape artist, but they want to work with you, not just become a tape artist. Is there any scope for that? Are you looking?
Yeah,
for
so I have seminars, I do classes, I have an apprentice program. I charge $10,000 and you'll be my apprentice for a year. I take you everywhere I go. You still have to pay for your hotel and food and accommodations and shit. But you pay one price, and now I give you access to New York Fashion Weeks, LA Fashion Weeks, Miami Swim Weeks, Art Basels, the World Body Painting Festival, Jamaica's, Paradise Challenges. Everything I do, you are welcome to come as my sentence.
What, 4 times that just to go to uni to get a degree that they're not going to use?
So
you know what I mean?
I just charge 10 grand and like I literally put you on the map. I throw you in the deep end. I'm like, and every job we do is hard.
In Paradise Challenge, that's kind of the idea, isn't it? You're getting these content creators to meet the models, to network.
So I sell my network. On Paradise Challenge, that's all it is. I sell my network and I host you. But I'm not some tour guide. I don't shoot
and
you.
it's up to them to build their network, to connect, to do.
You could fuck off and sit coconut water under a palm tree the whole time, or you could go and network.
Yeah, that's a beauty. And so it's applying. It's something that you've done from day one, innit? And you're giving them the chance now.
Yeah.
You've reinvented yourself. I was about to call you Joel there, but I know it's Dracon. What happened to that moment on stage when you decided to reinvent yourself?
So it's funny because I feel like some of the most impactful and profound moments of my life have always been because someone I love either abandoned me, hurt me, or just fucked me over. So it's that love factor, right?
Yeah.
And I have a tattoo on my chest that says, "Victory is my vengeance," from shoulder to shoulder. And it's not that I want to go and hurt you, but I want to be remembered. So when I was in school, they had asked me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "Remembered." The lady was like, "No one's ever said that before." I was like, "Well, because they don't give a fuck. They just want to go follow that vicious circle of society. But I want to be remembered." And I'm not saying that black tape's gonna get me to be remembered, but at least let me be remembered by the people I love, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone's eventually forgotten, right? Because the people you love end up becoming forgotten too. So whatever, I ended up meeting a girl and we traveled the world together. And in a short amount of time, I moved a lot of mountains for this person. And then I ended up having an accident where both my kneecaps had exploded. And I was somewhat like crippled for like 8 weeks.
What kind of accident?
Double patelis tendon. I was jumping on a trampoline. Both kneecaps exploded. They fell into my quads. I had to get double surgery and I couldn't walk. I had to learn how to walk again. All my biomechanics was fucked. So I had to literally learn how to walk again. So during that time, that person abandoned me and didn't want to be a part of my life, or at least part of the recovery. And so now it's not like I could just get up and go work out. It wasn't like I could just get up and motivate myself.
You were physically crippled.
I am stuck in a chair and the only thing I have is my mind. And that is a dangerous fucking place. So after weeks and weeks and weeks of me like planning how to execute myself, and I had the plan, I had the beautiful plan. I was so relieved to like think about it. It would really make me happy to just like, I can't wait. It was just all I got to do. So I was going to be done beautifully. I wasn't going to make a mess. It was just going to, I already had the whole thing laid out. I had nothing to do but to think about it. My sister had died recently last year because of COVID.
Sorry to hear
And
that, mate.
I had went to see my mom, and my mom sees it in my eyes that I'm ready to go. She's like, "What the fuck is going on?" I was like, "I don't want to wake up anymore. I don't want to be here. I don't want to fight. I don't want to try. I don't want to live." And then I saw the fear in her eyes for the first time. This is a beast of a lady, bro. Never saw this lady scared ever.
Yeah.
This is a monster. She's a dragon, fire breather, right? Cool. So when I see this fear in her eye, I look at myself and I was like, the only way I could save this body is if I destroy Joel. Because Joel's a bitch. Joel's a little crying, nagging hoe that can't seem to shake this off, and he can't fucking let it go. He's just holding on to all his pain, and he's being a victim. And so I came up with this persona called Drakhan Blackhart. Dracon as dragon or father of dragons, and because all the models I tape are called dragons, and then Blackheart, like saying I'm not just gonna openly share my heart, and you could consider it black if you want. So I ended up doing New York Fashion Week, and 4 months of planning New York Fashion Week, I ended up creating a clothing line out of chains, a new body chain collection,
Fucking hell, mate.
and that body chain collection was breaking the chains of
Yeah,
this of this dwelling feeling that I was dealing with. But I was able to invite the girl to the show and ask her to assist me in the show. And then I invited her. I paid her well. She never saw anything coming. No one knew what was happening. Everyone knew it was just the final performance of Joel. I kept announcing it was the final performance of Joel Alvarex. So everyone was expecting it to be the last show. But I never said it was the last show. I just said it was the final performance of Joel. So everyone's like, what the fuck's going on? I put her in the front row. I do the show wearing my braces. The first song was dedicated to the situation, and no one understood except her. I end up taping the girl live. All the girls walk out in tape. Then I come out again dressed differently. I don't know if you notice I have fangs now.
Saying no,
And then I change the color of my eyes.
yeah,
changed
now it
my
makes
name.
sense, mate.
Get me? So it's a lot of transformation.
Mate, when I saw the post, I thought it was like a suicide thing. It was like I
Kind
thought
of.
it was some kind of mad. Well, I suppose it was.
And metaphorically.
Yeah, metaphorically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting
Yeah.
at. Like it was almost like a Dear John.
Yeah. So I stand on stage, a 3-minute vocal or speech from me explaining what I just said to you.
Was this planned as well?
All planned, yeah.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
organized by me. No one knew. No one knew. No one knew. No one knew. Not even the guy who made me the audio for it.
Were you
knew.
nervous?
Not at all. I was excited.
Yeah.
So whatever. I ended up doing that part. The new girl, there's another girl that I'm taping live that looks like her doppelganger. I blindfolded her, like saying she never saw my pain, out of sight,
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
mind. And the girl's watching the whole thing. And she's in tears already. She understands what the fuck is being said and happening, but no one else understands. It was strictly for her. I finished the performance, then I go back to the stage and I had the leg braces on the whole time. The leg braces that I lived in for
Yeah.
8 weeks. So I ripped the leg braces off. I walk up to her on the middle of the show. I present them to her. And I walk out, like saying Joel Alvarez is gone and he's never coming back. Then the 25 girls wearing the chains come out. So that's the first performance I've ever done where the performance continued after I had left. So everyone was looking for Joel after the show. All the girls were like, Joel's gone, Joel's gone, Joel's gone. No pictures, no evidence, no conversations, no interviews, no nothing. Like, Joel is gone. So now on Saturday will be the first performance by Dracon at LA Fashion Week, which is part 2 of the story. So I'm doing a 6-part storyline incorporating every fashion show of the year. So if you go to all the fashion shows, you'll see this story. And that's never been done before.
That's unbelievable, that, mate. Ask you a question. I don't know if you know the answer. Well, you will, but who killed that person? Was it Joel or Dracon?
Who killed Joel? Mm-hmm. Joel killed Joel.
They killed him. Wasn't the new you coming in to
No,
take out
the
old you?
new guy has so much more damage to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new guy doesn't fuck about.
Do you think there'll be another reinvention?
I always think that people should continue to reinvent themselves. I don't think I'm gonna reinvent my persona.
Are the fangs permanent?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for anyone watching or listening, and if you are listening, you probably can't see his eyes. He's told me before this. What have you done to your eyes?
It's a hard word to say, so I can't even pronounce it. But I've on the second phase of a laser that removes the melanin in my eyes, so it'll start exposing the gray color that I have under. All of us are born with light eyes, and then our DNA or melanin, depending on our DNA, grows over it. So I shot lasers into my eye that will remove that melanin within 3 to 4 months. So I'm
I
on the
didn't even know that was a thing, you know.
yeah, they do it in Barcelona. So it's one price, and then you just continue going back until you reach your desired color. But you don't get to pick the color.
It's just whatever it naturally would
Whatever
have
you have
been.
under. Yeah, we just remove the dark. So I have a level 3, so I had to do phase 2.
Right,
So my
okay.
eyes will probably be gray in the next 3 to 4 months. And in the light, if you shine the light in my eye, you could already tell.
Yeah, it's mad that,
yeah.
mate. I just thought you were pissed or high.
Yeah.
That's awesome, mate.
So now
Dracon?
I got a new body tape collection,
Yeah.
a new body chain collection, a new name, a new persona, a new story, a new chapter. I feel like honestly, I feel like I was born a month ago. I feel like I just got started. I feel like $1,000,000. After the show, I walked out. I remember walking out and I went into the street and it was raining and I was trying to call an Uber and the rain kept falling on my screen, so the screen was not working. So I just started laughing at the sky and the raindrops are falling on my face. My body was still hot for the adrenaline and being in the show, the energy, and I just felt like a fucking $1,000,000 had £1,000,000 had just been taken off me. And ever since then, the amount of energies that I'm attracting, the people that I'm attracting, the positivity that I'm attracting, the business I'm attracting, I wish I would have done this fucking 10 years ago.
If you were to sum up where you want to be in the future within a sentence or two, what would you say?
It's a good one. I think if Leonardo da Vinci was alive today, he'd probably be a rock star. If you walk down the street, you would notice him and be like, that's the man. And I hope I could be that type of a persona off of just the way I think and the way I perceive things and the way I'm able to execute things. Some people call it Kanye syndrome.
Yeah.
I think it's just me believing in myself.
This conversation we've had, I've saw a bit of Kanye, like that type of mindset almost. Are you inspired or anything by him? Obviously, he's a genius. Do you know what I mean? But
He's also full of shit, but
yeah, but is there anything you
the
take
full of
from
shit part
him?
is just the perspective.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he doesn't care about how much you think he's full of shit. Not that I want to compare to Trump, but I've never seen a man take more of a ridicule and a beating than Trump. And he always came out with his chin up. Never, ever showed a sign of weakness, never showed upset, never nothing. It's not that I want to be like him, but that's true strength, right? So Dracon doesn't feel those pains. Whenever I feel like emotional or sensitive or soft, I just flip to Dracon and all that shit just goes out the window.
What a conversation, mate. Have you got any final words for anyone listening or watching?
Believe in yourself to the point where everyone thinks you're out of your mind.
Dracon, it's been brilliant. Thanks a lot for your time, mate.
No problem, my brother.
Cheers, mate. Thank you, bud.
Thank you.